Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the April 4th meeting of the Dartmouth School Committee to order. I'd like to ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. This meeting of the Dartmouth School Committee will be rebroadcast. I'd like to remind everyone on DCTV channels 9 on Wednesday and Thursday at 5 p.m., Friday at 6 a.m., Saturday at 8 a.m., Sunday at 2 p.m. It will also be rebroadcast on DCTV 18 on Monday and Saturday at 12 p.m., Thursday at 3 p.m. I'd like to ask, just remind everyone to please silence your cell phones, and then ask Ms. Genther for a roll call, please.
Shannon Jenkins.
Here.
Mary Waite. Here. Kathleen Amaral.
Here.
John Nunes.
Yep.
Chris Oliver.
Here.
All right, so I'm going to start this evening. We have public comment on the agenda. We have a couple of things on the agenda that maybe we're not ready for yet. So I'm going to ask us to skip down to approval of the minutes. And I will entertain a motion for approval of the regular session minutes for March 21st, 2020.
So moved. Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Oliver, a second by Mr. Nunes. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention. All right, so Ms. Amaral abstains. That's 4 in favor with 1 abstention. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve the public comment session minutes of March 22nd, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Nunes, a second by Ms. Waite. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention.
Well, although I did, I guess.
Whatever you feel comfortable with, Ms. Amaral.
Then I approve.
Okay, so we have 5 in favor, that passes unanimously. Next, I would like to hand it over to Mr. Kiley so that we could take a moment to recognize the many years of service to our district from Mr. Richard Ferreira.
Rick, you want to come on up?
Thank you.
So I was going through looking at all the projects that we've completed through the years, and I estimated that Rick has been a part of more than $80 million worth of projects here. And I'm probably underestimating that. There's, a lot of work that he did before I came on board. But in looking at it, he built new with this building. He improved all our older buildings, extended the life of all of these buildings greatly during his tenure, and at the same time managed to keep us afloat day after day with emergencies that never seem to end. So we really appreciate that. Rick dedicated himself to finding a way to make whatever we need happen. And I just really can't thank him enough for being so dedicated throughout all these events through the years. He's had so many nights of sleep interrupted through the years. I'm sure he's not going to miss that. And he's still helping us out. So today, Rick was helping with a sewer problem. Top on his list, but he had a big smile on his face. And I think the difference is that he knows he can go home at some point and not have to deal with this anymore. And so he can have that smile on his face. But really, it's been an amazing run for Rick. And really, his commitment to our operation is second to none. He's gone above and beyond. I can't say enough to thank him enough for all he's done. So. Appreciate it, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Just want to appreciate one thing. People have asked me over the years, how did you do it? Well, very simple, support. And that's number one. I've had support from the school committees over the years, superintendents, business managers that have just been there right along. Never fight me, always were there to help me. Said, what do you want? What do you need? And that makes the difference right there. Because if we were in a system that didn't have a good quality of personnel to keep things afloat and had support, I can't do half the things I did. So it's simple as that. And the last person I want to thank the most is my wife Jeannie, because she was the one that, I dragged her out tonight to bring it here, because this is my last hurrah, and hopefully, you know, now we get to do things. So I just want to bring her along and say thank you for everything you've done, the sleepless nights and all that. She's had it, you know. I just want to say thank you very much, and God bless. Have a good day.
Oh, you don't get to leave yet. You don't get to leave yet. Now you got to let all of us say nice things about you. So I'll start down maybe at that end of the table with Mr. Oliver.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. So first of all, I don't know if Mr. Kiley mentioned it, but for everyone watching at home, Mr. Ferrera is was our facilities director here at the Dartmouth Public Schools. And first of all, I got to also say that I'm happy that you're still sticking around, that you're for a little while anyway, right?
Just to help out.
No, honestly, Rick, it's been an honor and a pleasure knowing you, and having the opportunity to do some projects with you. Everywhere I go, there's a common theme that I've found the past 9 years I've been on the committee, is that when you talk to, whether it's school personnel or town officials or town employees, that there's always a common theme about how well our maintenance department always ran and continues to run. And I think that's a testament to you and to the team that you had developed here. I have no doubt all those nights of snowstorms and early mornings and all the projects, like Mr. Kiley said, it's just amazing. And we're very fortunate to have you on board. So I hope you get to enjoy your retirement. Thank you for all your service.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Nunes.
Yeah, thank you. One of the things that Rick has that people may not know is the number of licenses, trade licenses type of deal, and has been able to save this district tremendous amounts of money, being able to do the little things type of deal. And I remember a number of years ago, we had put new windows in at the Quinn School, and Tim Cahill, who was the Receiver General, came down to present us with the check that, even though he gave us the check, it still took another year to get the money type of deal. And he took a walk through the school, and he was impressed with the inside of what the Quinn School looked, how it looked, and and such. And you were explaining to him what was going on, and he sat there and said, well, we've got green money. What do we need? What does this school need? And you never missed a beat. You said a new roof. And this was in September. And that October town meeting passed the roof,
Right.
And, we ended up getting a new roof that the state kicked in a tremendous amount of money on. That. And I've been here at night with events going on, and you come walking in with your wife and your granddaughter because there's been a problem during the day, and you're back to check on it to make sure it's been fixed and it's working, so that there's not a problem in the school tomorrow when everybody shows up, and the little things, and it's appreciated. And thank you for all of that, my friend.
It does. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Ms.
I don't know-
Amaral.
Yeah, I don't know what more I can say than what my colleagues already expressed to you, but when Jim was describing, all of the projects, my tenure here is only not as long, obviously, as my colleagues, but extending the life of our current buildings is what an understatement. You have just done magic with your team, and I just love how humble and the credit you give to the people that support and that are under you, around you, I'm sure, but I just certainly hope that you enjoy. Glad you're sticking around to be helpful, and there is something special when you can just go home, right?
Does
It
make a
makes you
difference.
want to, definitely a big difference, but we are very lucky to have had you and continue to have your support in this community, so thank you.
Thank
This
you.
is a
Thank you.
well-deserved honor.
Appreciate it.
Ms. Waite.
Yes, and again, piggybacking on to what my colleagues said, again, I haven't been on this board very long, but I certainly spent my time at DeMello at the high school, and I always heard your name. I'm like, how is he here again? Whether it was at the middle school or at DeMello or at the high school, you and your team were, everywhere and anywhere, whenever anything was needed. So Certainly, you've been a real treasure for this town, so thank you. And I hope you and your wife get to do some amazing things on your, retirement. So,
I'll just echo what my colleagues have said. I remember we had, one of the building consultants in one of the years that we've been on here. And I remember them being shocked when we told them how old the building was, because they said, we've never seen this building, right? Still fairly new. We think of it as new, but from an architect's perspective, not so new. And they were shocked at how good it looked. And to me, that was a real testament to the work that your crew does, because these are people that go around to school districts and look at buildings. And they were just completely blown away and impressed by how good of a job had been done with this building in keeping it looking new and fresh. And I just want to, sort of amplify one of the things that Mr. Noon said and Ms. Amaral said about not only extending the life of this building, but saving this town money. Your crew and you have done a lot with a little. Lots of projects that might have had to been bid out, you guys took on in the summer. And I think sometimes the community doesn't really see that, but that's, I think, why we wanted to have you here. Because we all deeply appreciate the work that you've done. We're sad to see you go, but we hope you have an amazing retirement. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And on top of that, I just want to reiterate one thing you did say. You're being left in good hands. The crew that's there now is an excellent crew. I've had excellent crews right along, from the time I started to the time I finished, right down to the custodians, all my guys, the maintenance guys there, and the support staff from you guys. That's what makes it very, very easy. 30 years went by very quickly, and Jim's right. We did about $80 to $100 million worth of improvements. And, I didn't do that by myself, trust me. That was with a lot of help, So I just want to say thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
We
it.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so the next item on our agenda is we've set aside about 10 minutes for public comment. If anyone in the audience would like to speak on any of the items in the agenda, on our agenda for the evening, I would invite you up to the podium. I'd ask you to state your name and share your comments with us.
Hello, my name is Shelly Dang. Respected school committee members, I would like to have some comments on the Equality and Diversity Subcommittee, which is going to be discussed tonight. From the charges that I got from December 7th, 2020, for this subcommittee, I would like to know that is the same charges going to be used for the subcommittee this time? And where these charges came from, who and what defining the cultural aspect of Dartmouth. Please differentiate between equality and equity. Please explain what exactly is equity and inclusion lens, and why this is the only lens the subcommittee be limited to find the best practice research and innovative methods to be implemented in Dartmouth School District. Please provide suggestions for members in this community who believes that truth is exclusive and constant, and suggest how to be inclusive to community members and parents who do not want their religious and moral conviction being diluted. In the end, as a long-time resident in Dartmouth and with 20 years of higher education experience, and an immigrant from a diverse cultural background, I would very much like to be considered to serve in this subcommittee. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to make a comment about anything on tonight's agenda item, please step up to the podium and introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Lynn Turner. I'm here to speak about the Equality and Diversity Subcommittee that's listed on the agenda under Old Business. I have a concern that it has the title Equality and Diversity when all of the charges for this subcommittee to work on use the word equity. In fact, the word equity is listed 7 times in the 8 charges for this subcommittee, and equality is not listed once, not even once. Our Constitution clearly states that we are all created equal. It says that because we should not discriminate against individuals based on sex, race, or creed. The fact that we are created equal allows us to strive for excellence in anything we want to achieve. Equity has a very different meaning. Equity allows for discrimination by giving special privileges to groups of people based on things like race, sex, or beliefs in an effort to obtain an equal outcome. It is similar to everyone getting an award of equal value and not having anyone stick out as excellent. Equity is also ripe for racism by dividing people into little social or racial groups and focusing on differences. I even watched lessons of how to teach this on video clips from DESE. Is DESE telling our school board to sneak equity, the word equity, under the word equality? How divisive and misleading it is to have these words hiding under the blanket of equality. This subcommittee is also lacking transparency. I had to capture a screenshot of the charges during a diversity and equality Zoom meeting because I could not find the charges document anywhere on our school's website. If you would like to see these charges, I have them posted on my Vote Lynn Turner Facebook page. The charges are powerful because they include funding these efforts both for our students and for our teachers. On number 5, it states, make recommendations to the school committee on equity, diversity, and inclusion through the district with regard to allocation of resources, ongoing activities, and strategic investments to shape future direction. Number 6 is recommend practices and policies to provide ongoing professional development for staff and training for our students and families in issues of diversity and equity. I am guessing that number 7 is why they are trying to erase the Dartmouth Indian logo. On number 7, it states, the charge is educate and inform the community on equity, diversity, and inclusion issues. Recently, there was an equity-loving committee member that took digs at me on Facebook, saying that she didn't like that I am for all children. I can assure you that I am, and equality is for all children, regardless of race, sex, or creed. It ensures that each individual can thrive and reach their highest potential, the American dream. I find the charges of this committee to be misleading and, if not, even deceitful and unconstitutional. I urge that this committee not reinstate the Equality and Diversity Subcommittee today.
Other comments, please step to the podium, share your name, share your thoughts.
Hello, my name is Jeannie Tripp. I'm a parent. I am a registered voter. I have lived in this town for 50 plus years. My husband's family goes back generations. I grew up in this town. I went to Dartmouth schools. My 3 children graduated Dartmouth schools. And I can tell you that, yes, children can be tough, and the kids make little groups of their own. That's been throughout the generations. We never had these type of things come up when my kids were growing up or when I was growing up. If you're from Dartmouth, you know the music department, Mrs. Boulay, she would kill herself to get a poor child a violin so they could play violin. If it was sports and you couldn't afford the registration fees, I don't care who you are, where you came from, what color you are, what nationality, what your background is, it didn't matter. The parents, the faculty, the people involved in these groups stepped up for these kids. They always have. That's what this town is, which is why we support the Indian. It means something. It is a strong value that we've all had. I grew up with it. My kids grew up with it. Maybe I'm not Native American or Indigenous, as people would like to call it today, but I'm not politically correct. I'm just a Dartmouth resident who cares about my town and the future generations that are coming after us. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Other comments, please step to the microphone, share your name, share your thoughts.
Good evening, all. Renee Vieira, co-president of Dartmouth Educators Association.
I'm Jody Parisi.
So when we met last time, we had asked a number of questions regarding the items on the budget, and recognizing that Mr. Kiley wasn't here, we're looking forward to getting some of those answers this evening. But there are a couple of other comments that we'd like to make on behalf of some of our colleagues. Want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So I do believe, school committee members, that you have received some information from one of our ELE instructors, our Carrie DeJesus, and she can't make it here this evening, but she wanted to just thank you for hopefully receiving the letter that she sent and for giving it some thought. So I'm just going to read her statement. I want to thank you for the opportunity to address the decision to eliminate the 4th English language education teacher position in the district. I hope you were able to read my email detailing the need to reinstate this position based on the increase of English learners both at DeMello and Potter schools since September. The creation of the 4th ELE teacher position provided stability and consistency of ELE instruction, both at Potter and Cushman. It also allowed Dartmouth to move towards providing English learners the ELE instruction minutes recommended by DESE. Eliminating that position is once again resulting in English learners not receiving the English language instruction to which they are entitled. I do thank you for your thoughtful consideration in meeting the needs of our current and future English learners. Carrie DeJesus.
It was also brought to our attention that when trying to fill staffing shortages within the speech therapy department, lack of consultation or collaboration with existing speech staff raised some concerns in regard to staff licensure and supervision requirements. Ensuring that district speech therapy needs would be met with type of personnel being hired while considering the level of supervision needed for that staff. Due to administrative decisions, the department continues to be technically short-staffed, as there are a high number of speech therapy staff, but a shortage of speech therapy language pathologists. The speech and language pathologists must meet the mandated level of supervision required for these additional staff, manage the impact on their workload caused by supervising these staff outside of their contractual obligations, meet the service delivery needs and administrative duties, for example, IEP meetings, evaluations, consultations, and provide services to highly complex populations. The unintended consequences of these hires have resulted in the needs of the department still not being met, as it is physically overstaffed, resulting in wasted funds that could be used to hire the speech language pathologist that the department actually needs. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any further comments?
I'm Christian Gavush Silvera. I have 2 things quick. I wanted to make sure that all members received my email that I had sent. I don't know if you're able to provide a head nod or, I know I had gotten one response. Well, assuming that you all received it, I just ask that you please consider everything that I had said in my email. And if there are any members here tonight that did not receive it while you were all conversing later on, I hope that one of you may read it aloud to the rest or summarize some of the points that I brought up. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for this evening? All right, seeing no further takers, I'm going to send it over to our student, Ayambala, for her student representative report this evening.
Hi, everyone. Yes, so since our last meeting, it has been a really exciting and fun time here at DHS. Our music program continues to blow us away with their strong and captivating performances. This past weekend, our indoor color guard earned first place in the NESBA finals, and our indoor percussion and winds each took first place in their respective competitions. On Friday, Dartmouth High School and our Best Buddies program celebrated their first official Day of Kindness with random acts of kindness encouraged throughout the day and throughout our community. Spring athletics are underway with our girls lacrosse team having an incredible opening season with a win on Friday at the Dartmouth Memorial Stadium against Bishop Stang. The DHS Theater Company is well into their rehearsals for the upcoming spring musical, Shrek. We are all looking forward to their performances in early May. The TEDx DHS returns to Dartmouth High School this Friday, April 8th. Some classes will even have the opportunity to attend the event live, and members of the community can live stream the event to enjoy the hard work and thoughtful, entertaining student presentations. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, we know you probably have a busy evening, so you're welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to go if you would like.
Thank you. I totally would. I have a big test tomorrow.
We know.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right, moving on to old business. We have our discussion and vote on our fiscal year 23 budget, but first I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kiley. He shared a memo with us outlining some answers to questions that were asked at the last meeting, and so I'd like to give him a chance to share those contents of that memo with the public.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. I guess first I'd just like to say that we had a meeting with the Finance Committee, which I attended. Mr. Nunes was there to support last Thursday, and I thought it went very well. They had some good, thoughtful questions, and they kept me up on the hot seat for quite a while. But I'm hopeful and thankful for their time and consideration, and hopefully they will support our budget moving forward. So, at the public hearing, which I regrettably couldn't be here, but I did watch the whole thing. There were a number of issues that were brought up, and I'd just like to go through them and offer some information about each one. Student parking fees. So, eliminating student parking fees was a $15,400 proposal. It was included in our budget as a proposal for consideration. It did not reach the level of recommendation to make it into our budget as it currently exists. So I think, and I had spoken with Mr. Silvera following that meeting and made sure that he understood exactly where it was in the process. There was a question regarding the directors of teaching and learning and stipends that relate to their work. So, and I think Dr. Gifford may have actually followed up on this during that meeting, but I'll just go back through to reiterate that we'll be maintaining the project time and ELL coordinator stipends during FY23, and that other stipends relating to that transition process would not be funded in the FY23 budget. Assistant Superintendent Secretary to Director of Teaching and Learning Secretary. We had sent home a revision. The budget has been revised, so that position is included as a Superintendent Secretary in the FY23 proposed budget. And you have all those pages that are impacted, and the budget online is also reflective of those revisions. ESSER. So I think the question was regarding acceleration academies in ESSER, which are sort of intertwined, but can be two separate things. ESSER is supporting the acceleration academies, lots of programs that, that we're currently running. We are also receiving specific funds from the Department of Ed, federal funds that relate directly to acceleration academies in addition to ESSER. So as to how long that will be continued by the Department of Ed, I'm not really sure. I don't know. We don't know yet what's going to happen for the summer, but we're anxiously awaiting that. But we did incorporate in the ESSER budget support for programs, so that will be available to help with that. None of those funds are actually coming out of the FY23 budget. So the RBT issue, I think that was partially clarified by Dr. Gifford, but I will just say that the $49,193 that's included in the FY23 budget is for one staff member, a registered behavior technician, teacher assistant, and training of 3 existing teacher assistants to become registered behavior technicians, really looking to build some capacity in district to be able to address needs as they arise. So that is, and there's training cost and stipends that would be for those folks as well. Assistant Principal Cushman. This one was interesting because they must have been written somewhere, because I'm sure that they must have seen it somewhere, but it hasn't existed since 2012. It's been the early childhood coordinator since then. And it is the reason that the early childhood coordinator is funded at the level it is in the budget is because the IDEA special ed grant covers a good portion of that salary. So $58,000 is what's funded in the FY23 budget. Special education administration costs. Okay. So special education administration costs actually increased by essentially the cost of living, the projected cost of living increase for salaries. Nothing else in FY23 impacted those costs. We did reclassify a person to a more appropriate, so the assistant pupil support services administrator was classified in with outreach workers, which really doesn't make sense. It never made sense, and I finally fixed it and moved it. And so it maybe could be perceived that that was an increase, but it was not. ESSER, again. So I believe the question here was, how is ESSER intertwined with the FY23 proposed budget? So we are funding approximately $1.5 million of staff and expenses in FY23 in the ESSER budget. So that will be, we're currently in FY22 using the ESSER 2 grant. And we used a little of the ESSER 1 grant to finish that off. We will, in FY23 and FY24, be using the ESSER 2 grant, the ESSER 3 grant, sorry, and we will exhaust the ESSER 3 grant at that point. It actually is available to us till December of 2024. So there could be a little spillover into the next fiscal year if we're lucky enough to have any money left, but that's that's how that works.
Mr. Kiley, can I just ask a quick question? So how many staff are we funding from that?
Parts of 16 staff. Significant.
That's huge. Yeah.
I mean, it's been something, that committee members have commented on. I think I've commented on publicly. And I know Dr. Gifford has as well. We're certainly concerned about that.
Oh, I know, we've talked
how
about
that's
it
going to impact us moving forward, because it's a lot of money, and it is going to go away. So we do have
Also
to.
note that I believe you gave us a full accounting of the employees that are carried
Yeah,
out.
no, I know. I was just trying to get a reminder. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, we got that We've gotten that several times.
Instruction administration costs. So, all right, so the change there is really the two director of teaching and learning positions and the elimination of the assistant superintendent position. And I mentioned the reclass of the assistant pupil support services administrator, which was in the outreach worker category, into the instruction administration category where it's more appropriate for it to be. I think those were the comments or questions that were raised during the public budget hearings. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions, comments from my committee members?
No, I'm good.
I mean, I just want to thank you for, in response to Christian's advocacy around the parking passes. I do thank you for responding to me. I missed it for a few days, but feeling better. And, you know, it's tough. It makes a great case. And my hope would be that as we move forward, I mean, we're in kind of stark times. We've got these partial 16 positions that are funded, and that money is going to poof, potentially go away. Well, as we know, as we stand now, go away. But I would like to see that continue to, to be removed. I just am very impressed with his research and his advocacy around that. And I have concerns about the ELE positions, and it's my understanding, and it was sort of referenced in the email that we received, that the numbers are going up. And when you talk about equity and supporting students' needs, it's concerning, and I hope that we don't, dismiss the fact that needs to be potentially revisited, so that we don't, that those students aren't impacted in what they need to receive. But thank you for your response to a lot of it. Budget is always tough, and it's,
there's a lot of conflicting priorities.
Absolutely.
And, it's competing priorities, and we're fortunate that we do have a lot of support, from the community, and obviously our budget request right now is at 4.7%. I know through my discussions with the administration and the town that we've spent a lot of time talking about this, and they've been very supportive of us, and I hope that the boards follow suit, and support us through a pretty challenging time financially. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that we have to prioritize in order to make this happen. So.
Other questions or comments?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Oliver.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. So a few things. One, I'm going to disagree with probably some of my fellow colleagues that I would personally like to see the $15,400 striked out of the budget. I think between whether it's school choice funding or whether it's finding the money in our operating budget, I think that's a small dollar amount considering our overall budget and some of the lines that we have. So that's just my thoughts on that. In regards to the teaching and learning stipends, I'm going to go back to my statements at one of our previous meetings that I'm all for these positions. However, I would like to see the salary range, and not just for these two positions, but I think it's good municipal finance practices as well as good business practices, and we are charged with budget and policy, that the superintendent of schools come to the school committee to ask for parameters for salaries for non-union positions. I'm not saying that we need to set the exact salary, but I think it's good business practice that we have some kind of parameters that we agree on, because that is one of our charges as a school committee, is budget. And so, once again, I will say that I'm not comfortable with the salaries. I'd like to see some concrete figures. That's not to say that I'm not opposed to approving the budget this evening. It's just, I would like to see some concrete figures to go along with this from other school districts. I know Dr. Gifford had presented them. She didn't present them, but she let us know that they're all over the place. I would like to see some actual numbers on that. And I would also like to see if we are gonna, if the committee's pleasure is to continue with you know, the salary range in the ballpark of 140, that these stipends be included in those positions. There's absolutely no reason why, if we're paying someone $140,000 a year, that some of these positions or these stipends can't be rolled into that. So that's what I have for that. In regards to one of the comments made during public comment tonight, I don't know if you're able to, Mr. Kiley, elaborate a little bit on the SLP and the SLPAs, I assume, as to...
I could offer a little bit on it. So I know that that hiring SLPs, pathologists, has been very challenging. And there have been times where we have had to address needs by hiring assistants, speech-language pathology assistants. And I understand that that's the concern, you know, before us that was expressed tonight. And we're cognizant of that. And we have made attempts to try and address the staff, several attempts to try and address the staffing in that department, and continue to. So I don't have a lot of specifics on that tonight, but it is accurate that we have had to address needs with assistants, which do require supervision by the pathologists, which does take time out of their day. So we're aware of that and have tried to address it. We've posted jobs and not filled them for SLPs.
Posted jobs for
SLPs.
For SLPs. Now, and shame on me, I guess, for not knowing this, but are SLPs, I know they're under the general bargaining contract, but is there any kind of additional monies?
They're teaching salary
They're just
position.
straight teaching salaries?
Yeah, incorporated there.
Okay.
Assistants is different. Assistants are paid under teaching assistant
Yep.
contract with a stipend
Okay.
on top of that.
So I guess, I know this isn't a Dartmouth problem, right? This is a bigger problem with speech-language pathologists. So, you know, I don't know if there's anything we can do to make ourselves more attractive. But I appreciate the follow-up, Mr. Kiley, and all the work that's put into here. So, other than the fact that I would like to see the parking fees eliminated, you know, that would be the only change that I would ask everyone to consider. Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Mr. Nunes?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Unfortunately, I'm going to disagree with my esteemed colleague here. Big surprise. I think the parking fees are fine. I've said before, and I'll say it again, is, you know, the parking is a privilege and such, and we pay almost $4 million for bus transportation. So if, with all due respect, you don't wish to pay the parking fee, we have fantastic bus transportation that you're more than welcome to take advantage of. In general, the budget overall, my compliments to Mr. Kiley. Sitting waiting to go to the Finance Committee the other night, I said to him, I says, listen, just so you're aware, I says, I've looked at the budget, and unfortunately, I'm not going to chew up 2 hours of your time because I really don't have any questions. It was really cut and dry, and my compliments to the administration, the Budget Subcommittee for their work on putting it together. Would I like to see the ELL, the ELE, I should say, my fault, English Language Learner, stay? Yes, I would. You know, is that something that maybe we can fund in with the ESSER grants? Sure, okay, fine, but, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into this budget and a lot of time, so I will defer to administration and such on that. Thank you.
Other comments? I'll just, can I ask a question? Did we eliminate the fees for high school transcripts this year?
In the next school year, there will be no fees for transcripts.
So for me, right, I see those two fees as problematic. I see that transcript fee is much more deeply problematic than the parking fee. Children should not have to pay to get transcripts if they want to apply to college. So I don't necessarily disagree that we might want to move towards, right, reducing the parking fee or getting there, but I think we've made an important first step by eliminating that transcript fee. And I think we have to phase these in. So for me this year, the removal of the transcript fee for next year, removing that burden from our graduating seniors, I think is a positive first step. And so I would agree with Mr. Nunes that I think I'm willing to keep it where it is, to keep that parking fee sort of in the parking lot, and remember that, you know, we might have to slowly chip away and get to it. But I just want to highlight that it's not that we're not listening to students or trying to make it easier on our students. We have removed a fee that students currently are paying. So I'll disagree with Mr. Oliver on my number one. I'll agree with Mr. Oliver on my number two. We have a fiduciary responsibility as members of the school committee. We okay any increase in salary for every employee in this district. Our hands are tied if the initial salary is set outside of our purview because we can't go down, right? We can never go down. I mean, I suppose we could, but I'm not sure I want to go there. So I think it's super important that decisions about where to hire people come by us because it has impacts, those decisions have impacts on our budget. So I 100% agree with you that I don't want to necessarily delay approval of the budget, but I do want that to come back to us because that's part of the way we have to control the budget. We do that with all of the other salaries in the district. I see no reason why initial salaries should be any different. So those are my sort of two thoughts. The third one is I will echo my colleagues' thanks for putting together the budget. I know it's a lot of work. It is a delicate balancing act. I wish we had more money. I think Mr. Nunes often talks about how much more money we would have if we were just at average spending. We wouldn't have parking fees if that were the case.
$9 million, but who's counting?
Right. So I appreciate all the work that goes into balancing the tough decisions that need to be made. So if there's no further comments,
Madam Chair,
go ahead, Mr.
but
Nunes.
thank you. And also just to Mr. Kiley, is a great job Thursday night with the FinCom, you know, answering questions that they posed to him, and they were a wide variety of questions on anything and everything from transportation to building age to, you know, classroom teachers and such. So, and he had all the answers, which was good. So just my compliments.
Appreciate it.
There's not many times when he doesn't have the answer.
No, there isn't, no.
All right, so if there's no further comment, I will entertain a motion to approve the fiscal year 23 budget appropriation for the Potter School classroom teachers in the amount of $1,842,023.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Nunes, a second by Ms. Waite. Is there any further discussion on the item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention?
One abstention?
All right, so that passes 4 approvals and 1 abstention from Mr. Oliver. Next, I will entertain a motion to approve the fiscal year 23 budget appropriation for the total budget, excluding the item voted individually in the previous motion, and the amount of $47,541,382.82.
Good. So moved.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Nunes, a second by Mr. Oliver. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Kiley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so the next item on our agenda is discussion of the Equality and Diversity and Subcommittee. I do want to make one clarification for the record. The charge of the committee was publicly voted on by the school committee in a public meeting. That charge is posted on our website in the December 7th, 2020 minutes. So that charge is publicly available. If anybody would like to see it, I welcome them to go look at our minutes that are available on the Dartmouth School Committee website. Having corrected the record on that, we can open it up for discussion. I think perhaps The first item, if I can maybe structure our debate, is to maybe talk about, well, I guess the first question is whether we want to continue the committee, right? If the vote on that is no, we don't have to have discussion about anything else. So we should probably start with that sort of big picture first. Personally, I think there are some issues that came up. I mean, I think in the meeting on the 22nd, I'm reading dates, I think despite disagreement across different sides of the debate, there was some consensus about moving forward with developing some more curriculum, developing partnership, that I think we can all agree on that should be done. Maybe that's the charge of this committee. Maybe it's the charge of a different committee to do that. I think there are some other things that the committee could work on, but I will sort of open up the conversation for my fellow committee members with that first sort of question about whether we want to continue the Diversity and Equality Committee. Thoughts? All right, Ms. Amaral.
I mean, I will start. I would say I would like us to continue it. I would like us to, change the name to what would be traditionally a DEI committee. I think that it is an important conversation. As a parent of a young man who receives significant special education needs, that is an equity problem. That is an equity conversation, and those in our district who are like him, who are more vulnerable than him, who have different needs, whether they are students with undiagnosed learning needs, those students and those families need to be considered and thought about in our charge. And that is, I'm sorry, I'm passionate about it. I'm highly offended to hear anyone question whether or not equity is important within a school district where there are students that range from the most vulnerable to the most successful and who learn with ease. They're in my family. I've got 3 of them. I've got 3 different learners. One of them is voting tomorrow. He can't tell me when he's got a hurt on his knee, but his needs are just as important as my oldest, who valued her AP classes. And so, I'm sorry, I think we should continue with this committee.
Thank you, Ms. Amaral. Mr. Nunes or Mr. Oliver, I think I saw both of your hands go up.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm tossed with this, and Kathleen, I appreciate your passion, no doubt about it. Change it to equity, I can live with that. I really could. I really could, because I think we're all equal in this profession and with what we are content and need to do. I know I spoke when we were putting this committee together about trying to not make it too big type of deal, and I still kind of stick with that idea. My question becomes is, as we go back, and I will apologize, I think I've seen some emails, and again, I threw them into the folder, but I don't think I printed them, which is my own fault. The community members that we have right now, are they still, the 2 community members?
Yeah, I would say, I think they both have. We've also received some emails, I know, so I don't think we're ready to appoint anyone
No, I'm not
tonight,
ready,
but
I'm
yeah,
not ready to do
yes.
that, but that was my question, and I apologize if they
I
did.
believe at least one of them did. I'm not
Okay.
sure about the other. I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah, I've got to do the same too, so that's it. But
Right.
I think, I don't know, I'm still tossed of this, and I think I would like to see where this committee is going to go, in the future, what you're going to talk about and what you're going to try and what's going to try to be tackled. That type of thing. I mean, I'll just leave it at that.
Mr. Oliver, you had your hand up.
I did. So I guess from I 100% agree that I think we need to move forward with continuing a committee. I guess the questions that I have are more around the direction that the committee goes in and the topics that are discussed. However, in this, world and climate that we're living in, I think it's very important that, we have these conversations, and we try to make Dartmouth Public Schools a better place for everyone, and, be able to meet and service the needs of all of our students. So I would be, certainly be on board for continuing this committee. But we really got to look at our administration or our district liaisons to the committee. I think too, we need to lean on them some more, and, from some of the topics that may come forward. So I'd like to see it. It's a long way of saying I'd like to see it continue.
Okay. Ms. Waite?
Yeah, so I've put a little thought into this as well. I think that again, it was a tough first go at, the committee, certainly when we were, dealing with COVID and the committee couldn't meet in person. We know a lot of that work is really important to, get to know people, and we're meeting in an open meeting forum, which is, I think, difficult.
To be clear, all of the meetings were open and streamed. And
No, I know,
publicly
no,
available. I
no,
just
no,
wanna be
absolutely,
clear
yeah,
on
no.
the record on that.
No, absolutely. So I think, and that needed to be done. I think it's a difficult task, the way it was set up. So possibly, again, the charges that we had, I think were, well thought out, but we may need to go about it in a different way, bringing in particular, I had an idea about bringing in each school, let's say, to Mello, and they can share with us what they're doing in the school because they know what the work is being done. They can share what their school improvement plan is around these issues of diversity, equity, inclusion, how they're trying to accomplish that. And then, those members who are part of that board under open meeting can ask them questions. So they're not, being tasked with doing research on their own, which I think is the challenge when you have these members who are coming in who are, maybe members of the community or this and that, to go and find out, what exactly is happening in a school. I think that's difficult. I think it'll be a nice time for Mello to say, this is, for example, to say, this is what we're doing. This is, what we'd like to see. This is, we can also find out, these are some of the best practices that we've learned about, with whether it's dealing with diversity, race, inclusion. These are facilities we need, and then, going through each of the schools and then, even bringing in our, athletic director. Do we have accessible seating at our facilities? I know that was an issue with one of our band shows that someone came in with someone in a wheelchair and they were, a grandparent, and they didn't know, again, it was difficult for that person to find out where to go. So there's a lot of different issues, but I think being, redirecting it so that, we're having the people, whether or not the curriculum folks who are coming in as, or the individual administrators and staff of schools, maybe we have a different school come in or group, each meeting, however, whether it's quarterly, bi-monthly, I think that would just be a process that might make it easier for this to work to get done. And then, once you listen to all the elementary schools, I think we could say oh, look, Quinn is doing this. That's great. Maybe, we can add a diversity library at Quinn like we have at DeMello, just some of those kinds of things. So that's just, where I was leaning in terms of the procedure. But I would like to see it continue, obviously, but.
So I would like to see the committee continue, and I 100% agree with Ms. Amaral. I also don't think I could support an approach by school. And here's why, because I think we need to focus on specific issues and what the, say, climate is for specific sort of learners in our schools and people who work here. One of the things that we're doing on campus is we're doing a climate survey to understand how students, staff, faculty feel about our institution, to identify any issues. So do our students who are receiving special services and their parents, do they feel safe? I know we've had issues with that. Do they feel supported? And I would like to see us sort of tackle those sorts of issues where we can provide input for instance, I'm just following on Ms. Amaral's thoughts, right? If the first issue we tackled was how do our students who are receiving special services feel included, what are best practices, we can ask people from schools, but we can also receive input from the community and identify where some of the weak spots are. I do think that part of our plan, and it is about communication. And so providing avenues for people to have input and communicate about this, I think would be good. So I would like to see it continue as well, and it sounds like there's maybe some consensus about that. Mr. Nunes is on the fence, but that's fine. So I think it seems like the committee, I'm getting a sense of the committee here, that we want to sort of move forward. We may contemplate a change to the name to more accurately reflect the charge. In terms of composition, my inclination is that right now it is predominantly staffed by people who work in or employed by the schools. And to me, that seems appropriate because we're getting into some matters, right, that are the purview of administration and teachers. And so I feel that predominantly we have 2 administrators, 3 staff members, 2 students, right? 2 school committee, 2 community. I think that balance seems about right to me. Like wouldn't want to tip it so there's more school committee members or even more community members because it's about things that the administration and the staff have sort of control over. But I'm open to other arguments about how we might change the composition of the committee if people think we ought to. I'm not talking about the people who are in those seats, right? I'm more talking about the seats that are on the committee. Because I think since the terms have expired, we have to do a whole new call,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Agreed.
So what I want to focus our discussion on right now is, do we think the composition of the committee is right? We have 2 administrators, 2 school committee members, 3 staff members, 2 students, and 2 community members. Mr. Nunes.
Yeah, I think if you want to do anything else, maybe you got 11, so you want to try to keep it odd, maybe you add a couple more community members. Keyword maybe. That's discussion for another time. You can't add another school committee member because now you got a quorum, so.
We still subject to open meeting law
No,
because we're a subcommittee,
no, you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Right,
You got a quorum.
Right.
So the 3 committee members could make a vote and we own it,
that's true,
so.
true,
You don't want to go there.
right.
Type of deal. So my only thought would be if, and read the tea leaves, John, you're going to see that this committee is going to continue. So, which is fine, and I'm good with, I can live with that. But I think maybe we want to think about maybe adding 2 more community members, period. And then maybe taking a step back, and again, I don't know the 2 students from the high school that we have, I don't know what their class year is.
I think they both may be seniors.
Okay, so maybe we want to, look at maybe making it available to juniors so that you have a little bit of continuity, or a junior and a senior, so that as one leaves, the junior moves up and then you appoint another junior, that type of deal. So that you're not always having to sit here and bring, the 2 students up to speed as to what's going on. That's my thought.
Sure. Mr. Oliver.
I'm just going to agree with everything Mr. Nunes said. I agree.
Ms. Amaral.
I'm going to agree with.
Oh, wow, geez.
My concern is, say when we do, and again, we're all doing our best to make the best decision here. And, we are 5 folks with different sort of perspectives, and it's wonderful most of the time. But, say John decides he wants to be nominated to be part of the committee, and Mary or whatever, and it's not me, I would really like us to save space for one of the community members to have a perspective or some experience with disability and inclusion. So that would just be important for me, for the committee to consider. If I'm willing to serve,
Yeah.
although quite exhausted mentally, emotionally, and physically these past 3 years, but 2.5, not 3. But I would want to make sure that those voices are at the table because it's very important.
Ms. Waite?
Yeah, I agree. I think, we seem to be all in agreement as far as the composition of the, the group. And I thought we did a nice job trying to, balance out to make sure that we had different, voices, which is why we added an additional staff member too, just to make sure that we had different, expertise, brought to the committee, so.
So I'm going to disagree, only because I have concerns about having a majority of the committee not being employed by the school district. That would be my concern. I think there should be a majority on the committee that is employed because we're talking about sort of workplace issues and matters of curriculum and that sort of stuff. So if we expand, maybe we could go to 3 community members. I'd be a little nervous about 4, about the balance of the composition of that committee, given what it's sort of deciding. As Mr. Nunes points out, I don't disagree with him. We're walking a fine line between policy and curriculum. And so to me, I would tilt the balance more towards people sort of who are employed by the schools to make sure that the people that are at those conversations have the stake in it. So maybe we could consider, rather than expanding community to 4, maybe to 3. I don't want to be like no on everything. If you all vote for 4, that's fine. I can count the votes. Right, Mr. Nunes read the tea leaves, I can read the tea leaves too, but that's my only concern about expanding community membership to 4.
Well,
Go ahead, Mr. Nunes.
Madam Chair, and I understand what you're saying, but with 2 administrators and 3 school staff, you've got 5 if you have 4 community, unless you're concerned about the students.
Students and school committee members are not employees either, so.
We're ex officio employees. So, okay, again, I was just, I understand where you're coming from.
Right, and again, it's the pleasure of the committee on 1 vote. If we want to expand to 4 community members, that's fine. I would argue, I see that you want to expand, and that's fine with me. I would argue for 3.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll split the difference with you.
Okay, so we'll.
I'll make a motion that we expand the committee to be 3 community members.
Okay, do I have a second on that motion?
I second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Mr. Nunes, a second by Ms. Amaral. Is there any further discussion on that part of the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So I have a, follow-up. So can we expand the staff to 4 then to balance that? Is that,
I think we're good.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what she said.
She asked if we could expand the staff to 4. I think we're good, and I think
good?
we
Okay.
don't want to get it to get too big.
okay.
That's hard.
I was
It
just thinking the
becomes
odd number,
unwieldy.
that was the.
Well, no, I got you, but comment
All right,
heads,
and I
cooler
think-
heads of Bravura.
So I think what we've, let me just sort of summarize where we're going to continue the committee, we're going to expand the community membership. I think next up, the agreement was we're going to have to do a call for all new membership, but I don't think we're quite there yet, right? Because we still need to revisit the charge, right? And then the name.
Yeah.
Right now, the name is I guess it's been the Equality and Diversity Subcommittee. It is more traditional, to Ms. Amaral's point, to have a DEI committee, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let's discuss the name now and sort of settle that. Or if
I'll make a
anyone-
motion
go
that
ahead.
we rename it the DEI committee.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Oliver, a second by Ms. Amaral. Is there any further discussion on that? And just for the minutes, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah.
We know what you meant, but I just want to have that for the record. Is there any further discussion on that?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the charge. Ms. Waite had sent a draft charge around to Dr. Gifford and myself. Dr. Gifford is out and sick. I work, so
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
have any
it
time
was
to
just a
read it.
working draft today anyway, so.
So do we want to work from what was approved on December 7th? Do we want to, we keep drawing this out, but I want to make sure we get it right. Do we want to wait and have Ms. Waite circulate her draft, and then we can read both the existing and her proposal and come ready to do that, or are we ready to do the charge tonight? Mr. Nunes?
With all due respect, as you see, I don't have December 7th, 2020 minutes in front of me,
Yeah,
so.
that's agreed. That's why I suggest that I think we've made some
So,
decisions, right? That we're
if-
going to continue the committee with the name. We've changed the composition, all right?
I
So
mean, I
check,
can-
check, check. Next item, Ms. Genther, could you circulate the December 7th
I can go,
meeting?
I can
Well,
go.
I may forget, so I'm going to ask
Okay.
her for me because I forget these things. But if I see, yeah, could you re-email that to all of us as a reminder that we're going to need to read those? And then I copied you on the email for Ms. Waite, if you could do that when you forward Ms. Waite's draft charge.
Yeah.
And then we'll have it all in one place, and next meeting, we can talk about the charge.
Yeah.
Once we have the charge, I believe then we can do a recall. Anyone who has, I think, put their name in, and pointing out to the audience, I know Michelle has put her name in already, I think it's fine, we can keep those in the hopper, but then we'll put out also an official call if anyone else wants to put their name in as well, and then we'll consider that. Does that work for everyone? Ms. Waite?
It does. I'm just, revisiting, I guess as part of that, even though we're doing the charge, I am still curious about, defining the process, because I think that's where we got caught up, it seemed, last time. So, and again, if we're not going school by school, how are these members going to do that work? Are they going home and researching on their own and coming back? Are they, so again, just for next time to talk through that, like actual process, is, I think, an important piece of it too.
Okay. Other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, so the next item on our agenda is a discussion of our May meeting schedule. All right, so we have a meeting scheduled for April 25th. The Select Board and the Finance Committee have asked for a joint meeting on the 9th of May. Mr. Kiley, you were saying that you think we should attend this meeting, yes?
Well, I think given our hope that, we're going to gain support from the Finance Committee and the Select Board for the FY23 budget, I think it would be advisable that we attend.
I'm fine with that. I would just like to convey, and maybe you or Dr. Gifford could do this, that in past joint meetings, we've sat for like an hour of discussion of things that are like about, I don't know, the Conservation Commission. No offense to the Conservation Commission, but we don't have anything to do with the Conservation Commission. So I would ask that that FinCom and the Select Board arrange the agenda such that items relevant to the schools and the school committee come first.
Yeah.
Because then we can, sort of be done with that portion of the meeting and not have to be there for things that we have no input on, no purview over, right? So I would just ask that. The other thing that I would ask is at least 48 hours before meeting to get meeting materials to us. In the past, we have received meeting materials the day of the meeting. Some of us have jobs, we can't read things during the middle of the day. Some of us have lives.
Or it shows up as we get there, things are
Right.
being dropped in front, so.
Even if it is a draft, it's not finalized, we need something to look at beforehand so that we're informed about what we're talking about when we go into that meeting.
And
Mr. Nunes.
And also some type of an agenda as to what they're going to talk about.
Right.
I mean, with all due respect, as I've said before, if they're going to start talking about finance policies and everything else, we're outvoted. There's 8 or 9 finance committee members, there's 5 members of Board of Selectmen. Even for discussion purposes, if we all vote no, it passes. So, that type of deal.
I'd be happy to relay that.
Convey the sentiments
Those
of the
requests.
committee to the
Yes.
town. All right, so then the other question about our meeting schedule is, we have a meeting scheduled for the Monday after that. So would we prefer to do, like in the past, we've done our own meeting prior to the joint meeting to get through any sort of needed business we might need to get through, signing of warrants or any votes that might need to happen. And so have those both on the 9th, or do we want to do the 9th and keep the 16th? What's the pleasure of the committee there?
Or do we want to flip-flop and move to the 9th and go to the 23rd?
That's another option. Thoughts? Everyone's pulling out their calendars, so.
And that's why I've got mine out, too.
Yep.
So, Madam
I
Chair?
will not be able to make it on the 23rd. I have a medical procedure that day, but I will no longer be chair, so that's okay. Not that you do that to me, Ms. Amaral.
So we are meeting on the 25th of this month.
Yes.
Yes,
So I'm checking too.
The joint meeting is what?
The 9th.
May 9th.
The 9th. Okay, I was writing down all
So the
numbers.
question is, we'll probably want to do a joint meeting, or at least post our own meeting before on the 9th, just in case anything comes up.
Yeah.
But do we want to just do that? We could do the 9th and the 23rd, we could do the 9th and the 16th, or we could just do the 9th.
Well, the,
9th and 23rd would be.
well,
The 9th and the 23rd, does that work for everyone?
yeah, because other than that, in all seriousness, and I know we're getting to the end of the year.
We are.
Yeah.
and
Okay,
Yes.
the end of the school year type of deal. We don't meet, if we meet the 9th, we don't meet till June 6th.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay, so that,
Yeah.
you know,
So does it work for the committee to do the joint meeting on the 9th? We'll probably post something maybe for a half hour before that, just in case there's
Yeah.
anything we need to get through. And then we'll meet,
can
we'll do
get
our
the-
own
we
meeting on the
can-
23rd.
That sounds
Mr.
good.
Kiley, maybe we can get the planning board room.
Yes, I'm
Type
sure
of
we
deal.
That
can.
would be good.
Yeah,
Okay.
3:15.
There we go.
Okay, so let me do, okay.
Okay. So that having been said, we can move on to new business. I don't think, Mr. Kiley, I think the superintendent is out ill. She didn't give anything to Mr. Kiley. I don't know if you have anything, or?
Just the, we haven't met since the spelling bee. So the spelling bee was great.
It was, yeah.
Bacteriophage,
Yep.
which wasn't pronounced bacteriophage, I don't think. I
don't think
I
so.
don't know. Maybe I misheard. but
It did seem like the science department had slid some money to
They had a little
the,
advantage,
to the,
I think.
They had,
to the
there were
word
like
people, but.
four words in that string that were,
Yes, that were very
scientific.
sciencey, right? It just happened that way.
But it was a
Thank you
great
to
event.
everyone who contributed, and I still think I owe a check. So if
I do too. I
if
agree.
we have not done that
Oh,
yet,
Online and-
Mr. Nunes is the only one who's remembered to
I owe
do
a
that. So
I just pulled up the DEF website, so when I open up my computer
you'll
when I get
remember.
home.
That's a good idea.
it, yeah.
Perfect. All right. So yes, that was an excellent evening. Thank you to everyone who participated. And I believe because we changed the timing this year because of the pandemic, the call for grants is actually going to open up quite soon. So hopefully everyone in the schools will look for that. I also do not have anything to report, and so I'll ask other members of the committee if they have other things to report. Ms. Amaral.
I do. I'm sorry, I'm the special education sort of speaker
We
tonight,
appreciate
but
that viewpoint at our table.
I'm not in any particular order. I'm really excited to announce that we are so grateful, first, you hear it first, that we will have the Special Education Parent Advisory Council will once again convene in the fall. And so on September 25th, which is the Sunday, oh gosh, anyway, September 25th, we will have our 8th annual Southeastern Massachusetts Community Resource and Craft Fair, which is so needed, and I just am so excited to be talking about this. 27, but and planning and getting some really great, well-rounded resources in the hands of our community. So I'm so excited about that. I get chills. So, and then tomorrow, via Zoom, we have it on our Facebook page, the Dartmouth CPAC Facebook page, 6 to 7. We have our annual Parents' Rights in Special Education. So if anyone is interested in learning more about, those procedural safeguards and just the process and the regulations for special education, that is on Zoom. The link, I think, was emailed to everyone in district today. Everyone is welcome. It's a webinar style, so it's a listen back. You don't really have to be on camera to take notes. And just a reminder that we are also having, on the 15th of April, we close our annual parent satisfaction survey. So that I don't have the link in front of me. I was trying to get it, but that can also be found on our Facebook Dartmouth CPAC page. And as of, my family was ill, as of a week and a half ago, there were over 80 responses. So that's a great indication that people really want to have, a very good range of responses, and so far pretty positive, I have to say, but the folks have the ability to also share some commentary, and we've asked that they take out any personal, identifiable, taking it out of the context of who they are and what school they're in terms of the comments. But those comments are really vital because themes come out of them, and it helps the district, see those themes in terms of what gaps there are, or the perception or the climate in terms of what parents are feeling is happening versus, what we're trying to do or haven't quite succeeded at. But those are my updates.
Thank you. Other updates, Mr. Nunes?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A wonderful student rep talked about a color guard taking first place in NESBA finals on Sunday in their class, which is good. They're leaving tomorrow night for Dayton, Ohio for WGI.
Awesome.
They've got quarterfinals on Thursday, semis on Friday, and finals on Saturday. So wish them good luck and safe travels. This weekend, Saturday, starting at 3 o'clock, we're hosting NESBA finals for percussion. And that it'll be 15, it's a NESBA-run show. Music Association will run the 50-50 raffle in the concession. The Dartmouth Wind Ensemble will be on at 6:10, and percussion will be on at 7:30 with awards right after. So wish those guys good luck, and ladies, good luck. They leave during school vacation on Wednesday for Dayton, and they won't be back till late Sunday from school vacation, so safe travels to them. Also, sticking with our percussion and wind ensemble, our annual night of percussion is going to be Thursday, April 14th at 7 o'clock. So that'll be here. And then they'll start out in the auditorium and then move over to the Colin Lynch Activity Center. And last but not least, I sit on the Open Space Committee, and I just want people to realize that the survey that we worked on is on the town website. So if you can take, a few minutes and go in and answer it, the committee would appreciate all your valued input. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nunes. I will also remind everyone that tomorrow are town elections. Thank you to everyone who is volunteering to serve our committee. Good luck. To everyone wanting, please turn out to vote tomorrow. Ms. Waite.
I was just going to do one last thing, is that the high school open house for incoming 7th and 8th graders was originally scheduled for Thursday, but because, there were conflicts with the middle school play, that was moved until after vacation. I believe it's the 21st. I was trying to look it up on my calendar, but I couldn't seem to.
21st is school vacation.
I don't want to be, whatever I'm sorry. I have it I just couldn't get it up. Do you have it?
If it's a week after vacation, we can announce it at our meeting on the 25th.
Yes, I can't get it up on my,
Mine wasn't.
for some reason, my computer's frozen right now, but,
break.
yeah, no, they did. She rescheduled it just yesterday and was sending
Well,
it
we
out to
can
the middle
announce that
school.
date if it's after break.
Yeah, it is.
We can announce that at our
I
next
think it's that
meeting.
Thursday after break, but like I said, I don't
Okay.
know what's happening with this.
I got one.
Go ahead, Mr. Oliver.
Thank you. So last but not least, I was wondering if we could add for our God willing, our next meeting agenda, if we could have discussion around the Dartmouth Indian. Just
Sure.
add that.
Sure. We can add that to the agenda. The logo.
Thank you much.
All right, our next meeting is on April 25th. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mr. Nunes, a second by Ms. Amaral. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstains, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
One spelling bee.
Uh,